Today we're going to talk about dopamine. It is one of the four feel-good molecules, and it's nicknamed the pleasure molecule, but I like to call it the motivation molecule. It kind of acts like the driver of desire. Dopamine got the nickname pleasure molecule based on studies done with addictive drugs, where the drugs lit up these dopamine circuits more so than any other natural stimuli. Dopamine was discovered in 1957 by Dr. Kathleen Montague. It is a neurotransmitter, which means it ferries information in between neurons. About 0.0005 cells produce it, but as you know, it exerts a huge amount of influence on our everyday decisions. Dopamine is formed through the amino acid tyrosine converting into the other amino acid L-dopa, and then enzymes will do their magic and turn L-dopa into dopamine. Dopamine's purpose was originally thought to just be the precursor for norepinephrine. And norepinephrine is just what adrenaline is called when it's still in the brain. Dopamine also plays a role in learning and attention, mood, movement, heart rate, kidney function, blood vessel function, sleep, pain processing, as well as lactation. I think the best way to kind of explain the concept of dopamine firing is through comparing it to a bubble gun. So during a resting state, anyone's resting state, the gun will be firing at 3 bubbles. Maybe like you can think of it like as per second, 3 bubbles per second. And with natural rewards, this dopamine gun can fire more if it's in anticipation of something. If you really wanted to eat this lava cake all day, your firing rate will increase up to about maybe like 10 bubbles. But when the reward comes in, when you finally get that lava cake, the dopamine release will start to slow it down. This is because dopamine is more responsible for your desire than it is for you liking things. So it's the difference between wanting something and liking something. When you like something, usually other hormones will kick in. And I'll talk about that in other videos. When the same reward is given over and over again, dopamine release will slow down over time. We've probably seen this with a whole bunch of things, like some things just get old over time. If a reward was completely unexpected, then the dopamine will get triggered. The highest peak will be released when the unexpected reward comes. However, when it comes to drugs and artificial sources of, satisfaction, a weird thing happens where the expected and unexpected rewards trigger a dopamine release. And you can kind of see this. When the same reward is given over and over again, the same thing happens where dopamine release will slow down. This is why people say drugs hijack the body's dopamine circuit. It's because these drugs will not only peak the dopamine a lot higher than natural rewards will, but they also kind of confuse the body where expected and unexpected rewards will trigger the same dopamine release, kind of ruining the way you would react to normal stimuli. There was a rat study that noticed that when the rat study kind of found out if dopamine was kind of removed from a rat system, the rats aren't motivated to go out and get what they want. Like they didn't want to work to get the food that they wanted or work to get sex. They kind of just laid there and lost motivation. However, if you were to feed them and not require them to do any work, they would eat or they would have sex. When it comes to these dopamine surges and kind of like controlling, what do you want and how you're going to get it, it kind of stifles your emotions a little bit so that you can be more clear-headed when it comes to what you want, which is why visualization is so important and goal setting is so important, because if you have that idea in your head, you can use the dopaminergic energy to your advantage, and it will stifle your distracting emotions. Okay, so people with a lower amount of dopamine sometimes will have Parkinson's, where their movements are a lot less fluid, more robotic. They might be more down, they might lack motivation, concentration. Whereas people with higher dopamine technically become more motivated because they place more weight on the benefits than the obstacles needed to overcome to get what they want. There was a man who was prescribed medicine for Parkinson's that increased the amount of dopamine in his system, and it actually caused him to engage in more reckless behavior. So he started gambling more and more to the point where he lost everything he had.